I was wondering if there's any chance we might be able to see them come back in a bigger capacity, maybe as judges or something else other than the cameo.
That's been discussed, and it kind of depends on the availability, because you're trying to get 6 people to show up at the same time. That all have their different commitments that they're involved in, whether it's professional or family or whatever it is. But yeah, that was kind of a high point in season 2. All those nerds showed up.
Do you have any favorite challenges in season 2?
Yeah, I really like the nerdio cards.
It's a big topic we talked about last table.
I'll tell you, that was really something. The way it emulated Tron.
Yeah,
and,
it's the best.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good. I like that challenge a lot.
How about a least favorite challenge? Or was there a certain challenge that was really difficult to develop?
Well, when we had that challenge with Quidditch, we didn't think that it was going to be that hard for them to throw things into the cauldrons. And so it's kind of a little bit of a letdown because we didn't realize it was going to be that hard to do. But when we were on the day and you saw how steep that zip line was and how fast they were going, I mean, they had to really ride that broom. And it was scary. I mean, they were truly frightened.
It's like they had just been most of them holding on to the broom less time about worrying about points. Like, it's like, am I gonna fall off the broom or am I gonna get my points? What's more important here?
Yeah, no, it was a tough challenge.
Are there any tough challenges coming up in the next season? Like that?
Not like that one, no. But we have 3 PhDs on the panel this year. So we've got, instead of the show being more tilted towards pop culture, this year it's going to be stronger nerd. I mean, genuinely nerdy smarts is going to be required to win the competition.
The gauntlet last year was just as hard. That was pretty much all science.
Yeah, it was.
Terrifying when I saw it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a panic attack just watching. The gauntlet at the end, I felt like I was going to have a panic attack just watching it.
Oh, yeah. You mean the Nerd Eliminator?
Yeah. Is the final battle this year going to be that nerve-wracking?
Yes. It won't disappoint. Our final battle is slightly different than the Nerd Eliminator, but it does require genuine nerd smarts to win it. We won't disappoint.
Then we had a deadly quiz game around a ring of fire.
Yeah.
With like tigers poking at you.
Yeah.
It's like, answer this question is wrong and a tiger gets to have you.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you feel about, like, what's like the funniest moment in Nerdvana that you saw, like just like your best moments at Nerdvana?
I think that some of the best moments are when they've been given their assignment for whatever the Nerd Off is going to be. To watch them all go back to Nerdvana and the little cliques form between the competitors and they try to put their heads together and try to figure out how to outsmart the other guys. And those moments to me are the most real. And I really like it when they get back in Nerdvana and try to figure out how they're going to beat the other team.
That's good. I mean, so like, you know how like every like the first season was all, no surprise. Second season was, what happened last season was going to be different from this season. Season 3, are we going to know what happened because it happened in the first 2 seasons, or is it going to be something completely brand new?
Well, it's not completely brand new, but we've come up with some challenges that are more nerd-specific and less pop culture-y. That was one of the complaints we had from season 1, was that it was too much pop culture and not enough nerd culture. So we've come up with some really good challenges. They're flashing past my mind right now, but I can't reveal them, so it's a little frustrating for me.
Feel free to.
It's really frustrating for you guys too.
Yeah. It's killing me.
Can't tell you, but we're gonna give out little snippets.
It's like good stuff's happening. That's what you can confirm. That we're gonna see good stuff.
It's not gonna be disappointed. 3's a charm.
Oh yeah. Are there going to be any other special guests that are going to be on the show? Can you maybe say something about that?
Well, we've got some really good guest judges, and I can't reveal who they are, but
Which you did.
they're really good, and they're high up in nerd culture.
Okay.
They have real nerd cred.
Oh yeah.
Real nerd.
They have real nerd cred. That's
On the
awesome.
streets.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of Nirvana that you wish you could spend all your time in?
Yeah, I kind of like the laboratory where they have all the bits and pieces that they build their
The
stuff
Radio
with.
Shack lab?
Yeah, the Radio Shack
I think
lab.
last season was the TARDIS, right? That was inside the Doctor Who TARDIS.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah.
I like to live there.
I like that a lot, but also the game room's really good. Plus, the game room's got its own popcorn machine, so that's pretty special.
Look at that.
I wouldn't mind
Popcorn
spending a
for
day
days.
there.
Big party?
I wouldn't mind spending a day in there.
Yeah, no, Nerdvana is definitely Nerdvana. Every nerd wants to live there. They don't want to go away.
I couldn't. I
So,
wouldn't
so you
wanna-
started off on Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes.
And now you're a king of the nerds. Did you ever think your career would go back to that path? Because you look like a really smart guy. Like, just look at you, I'm like, this guy knows everything.
Well, I wish I knew everything, but no, I had no idea that this would come around. It was one of those things where it just seemed like a good idea at the time. We tried to launch it several years ago, and it didn't catch on with people we were promoting it to. Because the timing, I guess, wasn't quite right. And then when we brought it up again this time, it definitely struck a nerve. People thought, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's go with this. Let's go. And here we are. Yeah. Hard to believe.
Like if that had King of the Nerds back, would you have ever wanted to compete on a show like King of the Nerds? Would you have been on a show like King of the
I'm not
Nerds?
nerdy enough.
That shouldn't matter. You can still compete.
No, you got to be the real thing, and they'll find you out. If you're not really a nerd with real nerd cred, as you work your way through the interview process, they'll find out that you're a poser.
Yeah.
Give it the keep
Posers
hope.
around. Oh yeah,
Launched you from Catapult.
yeah, the catapults, exactly.
I'm just giving them ideas to how to eliminate people. Like now there's people like Tigers, Rings of Fire, Catapults. It's like, how do you feel like what this show is doing for like the nerd community? Like what else, like what kind of a challenge would you like to see, or what kind of stuff would you like to see appear on the show?
I can't remember if I said it here or over there, but I'd like to see us, if we could, get some of the high-tech stuff into the nerds' hands and let them really, use these devices to try to solve a challenge. The stuff we're giving them is a little bit rudimentary, and there's definitely some stuff out there that these guys could get their hands on if we had the time. See, we're on a tight schedule, so because of that, they can only go so deep into preparing for their challenges.
Yeah.
And it's not really a week,
Yeah.
We move fast, so it's just one of those things. We're limited by time.
Yeah. If you have more time, you'd be able to give more people a lot of better opportunities to
Exactly.
explore and notice all those things.
Also, we could move the whole group en masse to say JPL, stick them in JPL for a week. We can't get JPL for a week. Even though we're shooting in Pasadena and JPL is right around the corner, we can't get to it. So those would be challenges I'd like to see us do. Put our group of nerds against some bona fides like the JPL guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be cool to watch.
Yeah.
I have a question, not so much about the show itself, but just the culture of the idea of Revenge of the Nerds and King of the Nerds. For Jeff and I, that was an important movie growing up. That was kind of our mantra, or the one movie that defined us. Was there a movie that defined you, or you go back to saying, that's me? Ask some tough questions.
It is a tough question. Well, I remember growing up, I had this great desire to be a racing car driver. So when the movie Grand Prix came out, Le Mans came out, those movies, they were important to me because of that passion to drive. But things went the way they went, so I did a little bit of it.
So what do you drive now? A Grand Prix?
No, I wish. Yeah.
That's cool. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So for new nerds that want to compete, or like people like us that watch the show but that want to compete, how do you feel about people that feel intimidated by like the knowledge barrier? Like, you know, like if you're like a gamer or comic book nerd competing against people that are really skilled in like astrophysics or like, you know, I don't know, like the really out there topics. Like, you know, like we have the engineers and everybody. What would you tell them? Would you tell them to just go for it, or what advice would you give to people that want to compete and are worried about the knowledge barrier?
I mean, if you're passionate about some certain aspect of nerd culture, absolutely go for it. I mean, like I said, we have 3 PhDs this year, so they're not kidding around. I mean, they really have the nerd cred to compete, and they're passionate about it. I mean, they're young. These are young doctors, and it's amazing to me. They just they've accomplished so much in such a short amount of time.
Okay, that's good.
Are you surprised or thrilled about how well society has taken on to the show, how big it's become among, you know, young adults, children, even older adults, how big the show has gotten to everyone?
Yeah, it's really it's kind of heartwarming that we came up with something that people really gravitated towards. Because, you know, let's face it, we all feel like outsiders at some point in our lives, and that was the theme of the first movie, and that's why it was so popular. Because everybody at some point always feels like they're on the outside looking in and wishing that they could be like the cool people. So the fact that nerd is the new cool is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're happy about it.
So I know that you're doing the next Sharktopus.
Sharktopus versus Carradine.
How was that, working on the set of that? Was that fun?
That was a lot of fun. Again, that was a really tight schedule, so we had to get a lot done in a short amount of time. But the finished product turned out pretty good. Really happy about it.
Is that something that you always want to do, like being like one of those over-the-top movies?
Well, they come along, you know, a few times in a career, and you got to grab the opportunity when it shows up. So, yeah, Sharktopus versus Carradine. Sci-fi movie.
Arkham. I love that title.
Getting back to the show, I have one more question. How do you guys deal with like the bullying aspect of being a nerd? Like, does that incorporate itself into the show at all, or do you address it at all, or do you somehow show it?
Well, in season 2, we had one contestant who sort of had issues, yeah, and he'll remain nameless at this point, but you know, it was a psychological bullying that was going on in Nirvana that had some people upset. So, you know, that's reality. That's reality TV, and if you have a character like that in the mix, you have to deal with it. And with the cameras running 24/7, no aspect was left unturned. And you know, it's sort of like the judicial system. The truth will come out.
It's pretty good.
I just gotta ask, when you go back to the regular nerds, I must have watched that movie like 30, 40 times within the summer. Was the panty raid scene as fun to film as it was to watch?
Yes, it was.
That's a question.
He's our Kevin. We're gonna rotate. Sorry.
That was one of my favorite childhood memories. Was when you're there in the shower. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.